Your trials were never meant to break you. They were not a sign of failure, nor were they proof of your unworthiness. Every moment of struggle, every sleepless night, every tear that fell in silence was a divine arrangement, a preparation for something far greater than you could have imagined. You did not come into this world to be defeated, to wander aimlessly in sorrow, or to believe that your suffering is endless. No, you were being shaped, refined, prepared for a transformation so great that when it arrives, you will look back and understand why you had to endure what you did. The world teaches lack, but the Spirit knows abundance. The world teaches doubt, but your soul knows faith. Your trials whispered lies to you, telling you that you would never rise, that you would remain stuck in that place of hardship forever. But that was never the truth. The truth is that every difficulty was a test, a molding of your character, a strengthening of your faith. You were being prepared to receive something beyond your understanding. God's millionaire blessings, not just in wealth but in wisdom, love, and divine favor. Do you not see how the trials refined you, how they made you stronger, more resilient, more aware of who you truly are? The world may have called them misfortunes, but heaven called them preparations. You were never being punished, you were being positioned. Positioned for the overflow, positioned for greatness, positioned for a manifestation so miraculous that you would be unable to explain it by human means. Thirdly, every struggle you faced was designed to shift your perception, to cleanse you of doubt, and to elevate your consciousness to a level where you could finally receive the blessings that were always yours. Nothing was ever taken from you. It was simply being rearranged, refined, and multiplied so that when it returns, it comes back pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Faith does not ask you to beg. It asks you to believe. It asks you to stand in the certainty that the God who allowed the trial is the same God who delivers the reward. You are not forgotten. You are not abandoned. You are standing at the threshold of divine abundance, and what is coming to you now is beyond anything you have ever known. The pain was real. You endured so that you could receive, and now it is your time. You were never meant to live in struggle. You were never meant to dwell in lack. The trials you endured were only a shadow, a passing illusion meant to awaken you to a deeper truth. What if every hardship was a divine setup? What if every door that closed was simply redirecting you to something far greater? You were never denied, only rerouted, only prepared. The suffering was not an end, but a bridge, carrying you to the fulfillment of a promise made before you even entered this world. You see, God does not withhold blessings. It is never a question of whether you are worthy, but whether you are ready. And your trials made you ready. They stripped away doubt. They removed the old self that clung to fear and hesitation. They revealed the strength that was already within you. Every tear was counted, every silent prayer heard. The delays, the disappointments, the moments where you thought nothing would change, none of it was wasted. Everything was aligning, shifting, orchestrating itself in divine perfection. Now the time of waiting is over. The time of wondering, of questioning, of feeling forgotten is ending. You are stepping into the manifestation of what was always yours, not by force, not by struggle, but by divine right. The blessings that are unfolding in your life now are not just a reward for endurance. They are proof that you have finally become the person who can receive them. Before, you may have doubted your own worthiness. You may have questioned if you were truly meant to live in abundance, in overflow, in divine favor. But those thoughts no longer belong to you. You are no longer the person who struggled to believe. You are no longer the person who looked at obstacles and saw defeat. Now you see differently. Now you know differently. The trials you endured did not weaken you, they awakened you. They removed every illusion of limitation. They burned away every false belief that told you that you were separate from God's infinite abundance. And now as you step forward, you no longer beg for blessings. You recognize that they were already yours. Look at your life now with new eyes. See beyond what the physical world has told you. You are not bound by circumstances. You are not at the mercy of chance. You are walking in divine alignment. You are moving in the flow of favor, of grace, of supernatural provision. You do not chase blessings. Blessings are drawn to you. You do not struggle for success. Success unfolds effortlessly in your presence. What you once prayed for in desperation now finds you with ease. The shift has already happened. What once seemed distant is now near. The struggle was never your destiny. You were always meant to rise, to flourish, to step into a level of abundance so great that it overflows into the lives of others. And now, as you embrace the fullness of what is yours, you no longer doubt, you no longer wait, you simply receive. You receive not as one who is uncertain, not as one who fears it may slip away, but as one who knows beyond all doubt that what is given by divine hands can never be taken. You receive as one who understands that lack was never real, that limitation was only a lesson, that every trial was simply a passageway to your rightful inheritance. You were never waiting for God's blessings. God's blessings were waiting for you to see, to awaken, to become. And now you walk differently. There is no hesitation in your step, no questioning in your heart. You move with the confidence of one who has already arrived. The struggle is no longer your story. The days of barely getting by are no longer your reality. You have entered into a new season, a new consciousness, a new awareness where favor is not something distant, but something as natural as the air you breathe. The very strong faith you have that your favor has always been, you do not force, you do not chase, you do not doubt. You understand now that what is meant for you flows to you, not through effort, not through worry, but through alignment. You no longer pray as one who is separate from abundance, but as one who is one with it. You no longer plead with God for blessings, because you know that God's will for you has always been increase, expansion, and overflow. Every delay you once mourned, every closed door you once questioned, now reveals itself as divine wisdom. What you thought was rejection was protection. What you thought was loss was preparation. Everything has worked for your good. Everything has led you here. And now you stand in the reality of answered prayers, not as a beggar, but as an heir. Not as one who hopes, but as one who knows. Your trials never defined you, they refined you. They stripped away everything that was too small for the life you were meant to live. You were never meant to live in scarcity. You were never meant to live in doubt. You were never meant to question your worth. You were created for this moment, for this realization, for this expansion into the fullness of what has always been yours. And now you lift your head and you see clearly. Now you step forward and you move with certainty. Now you open your hands and you receive without fear. The time of struggle has ended. The season of lack is over. You have stepped into a new reality, a divine truth, a life where abundance is not something you wait for, it is something you embody. It is something you have always been destined to experience. For there, in this cave, you have found not reality, but in the truth, a vibrational connection to infinite. You no longer cling to the past, for the past was merely the shaping of the vessel. The fire you walked through was not meant to destroy you, but to refine you, to burn away every false belief, every doubt, every fear that kept you small. The weight you carried, the burdens you bore, the nights when you whispered prayers into the darkness, all of it was seen. Not a single tear was lost. Not a single moment of pain was wasted. Everything was recorded in the unseen, preparing the way for the blessing that now stands before you. And now you recognize that you were never without. Even in the moments when your hands felt empty, even in the seasons where doors seemed to close, even when you felt forgotten, heaven was moving. Heaven was rearranging, orchestrating, aligning every event, every delay, every hardship, so that when your blessing arrived, you would not just receive it, you would be prepared for it. You would be able to hold it, to sustain it, to multiply it. The tests were necessary not as punishment, but as preparation. You were never meant to merely survive, you were meant to thrive. You were never meant to scrape by in desperation, waiting for miracles. You were meant to stand in the certainty that miracles surround you, that favor is your natural state, that abundance is your inheritance. No longer do you look at your life through the lens of struggle. No longer do you wonder if you are enough. You know now that you have always been enough, that you have always been worthy, that the trials were never proof of your weakness but of your strength. The shift has already happened. The tide has already turned. The very things you once prayed for in whispers will now flood into your life with unstoppable force. What once seemed distant is now at your door. What once seemed impossible is now your reality. You have stepped into a flow where blessings find you effortlessly, where opportunities unfold without struggle, where favor surrounds you like a shield. You do not need to ask how or when, for you understand now that divine timing is never late, never rushed, always perfect. Everything arrives exactly as it should, exactly when you are ready to receive it. You are no longer waiting, you are walking in it. You are no longer hoping, you are knowing. The unseen is becoming seen. The promises are becoming tangible, and you, the one who once wondered if the struggle would ever end, are now stepping fully into the life that was always meant for you. You no longer question whether you are deserving, for you see now that you were chosen long before you ever faced a single obstacle. The trials were never a sign that you were forgotten. They were the proof that you were being shaped for something greater than you could have imagined. Every season of waiting, every moment of uncertainty, every door that seemed to remain shut was never meant to discourage you. It was meant to prepare you for the magnitude of what is now unfolding. You were not being delayed, you were being refined. You were not being punished, you were being positioned. The tests were not to break you, but to make you unshakable. They were building within you a strength, a faith, a certainty that cannot be moved by circumstances, that cannot be swayed by temporary setbacks. And now you see clearly. You understand that the waiting was never wasted time. It was the foundation upon which your blessings would stand. You shall stand as a return. And now abundance flows to you in ways you could never have forced, in ways you could never have orchestrated on your own. The blessings are not coming, they are here. They are appearing not through struggle, not through effort, but through alignment. You are no longer striving, you are receiving. You are no longer chasing, you are attracting. What once felt far away now feels natural, effortless, inevitable. You do not need to convince yourself any longer, for you have seen the evidence. You have walked through the fire and emerged untouched. You have endured the storm and now stand beneath an open heaven. You no longer see lack, for you understand that there was never any lack, only a temporary illusion that blinded you to the fullness of what was already yours. Now your eyes are open. Now your heart is ready. Now your hands stretch forth, not in desperation, but in expectation. Everything is aligning. Every blessing that was prepared for you before time began is now being released. Not because you fought harder, not because you proved yourself, but because you finally stepped into the awareness that it was always yours. And as you embrace this truth, as you walk in this knowing, you will see miracles unfold, not as something rare, but as something natural. You will see doors open, not with force, but with ease. You will see favor chase you down, not because you struggle for it, but because it is your divine inheritance. You are no longer waiting, you are no longer hoping, you are standing in the promise, walking in the manifestation, living in the overflow. Everything that was once uncertain is now undeniable. Everything that was once delayed is now arriving. The trials were the test, but now the blessings are the testimony. The preparation is complete. The season has shifted. The abundance has begun. You stand now in the reality of all that was promised, not as one who is surprised, but as one who always knew deep within that this moment would come. The trials that once seemed like barriers were never meant to stop you. They were only there to prove to you what was already within you. The resilience, the faith, the unwavering knowing that you were created for more. You have looked at life through the eyes of lack, through the lens of struggle, but now you see with new vision. You see that everything was unfolding exactly as it needed to, that nothing was ever truly lost, that even the moments of pain were working for your elevation. The suffering did not define you, it revealed you. It stripped away doubt, broke apart fear, and left behind only the unshakable truth that you were never alone, never forgotten, never without the favor of divine hands upon your life. And now you walk into this new season without hesitation, without apology, without fear. You do not ask if you are worthy, for you know now that you are always worthy. You do not shrink in doubt, for you have seen how every moment of uncertainty was transformed into evidence of divine provision. You do not question if this is real, for you have felt the shift within you, the awakening, the deep certainty that abundance is not something you earn, it is something you awaken to. The past no longer holds you. The memories of struggle do not bind you. You do not carry the weight of what was, for you understand now that it was only the foundation for what is. You no longer replay the moments of hardship, for they no longer define you. The suffering was not your identity. The lack was not your destiny. You see now that even in the wilderness, you were being guided. Even in the waiting, you were being strengthened. And now, the season of waiting is over. You are not stepping into favor. You are realizing that favor was always yours. You are not receiving a blessing. You are becoming aware that the blessing was never withheld. The divine does not give in pieces, does not delay out of reluctance, does not withhold out of judgment. The divine only waits until you are ready, until you can see clearly, until you can step into the fullness of your inheritance, without fear, without hesitation, without disbelief. The moment you stopped questioning, the moment you stopped doubting, the moment you embraced the truth that abundance was always within your reach, the shift happened. What you once begged for now appears effortlessly. What once seemed impossible now unfolds before you with ease. What once felt distant now feels familiar, as if it had been waiting for you all along, waiting for you to awaken, waiting for you to claim it, waiting for you to realize that the power to receive was always in your hands. As you move forward, you do so with a new understanding, a new awareness, a new certainty. You no longer chase, you no longer plead, you no longer ask from a place of desperation. You declare, you expect, you walk in the knowing that every resource you need, every opportunity meant for you, every door designed to open, is already aligned in your favor. The moment you surrendered the struggle, the moment you released the need to force, the moment you trusted that the divine plan was always for your expansion, everything shifted. You have not been forgotten, you have not been overlooked, you have not been passed by. The trials were not the end of your story. The struggle was not the conclusion. The waiting was not a punishment. Everything was working in divine order, leading you here, shaping you for the magnitude of what is now unfolding. And now, as the blessings pour in, as the opportunities arise, as the abundance flows, you do not question if it is real. You do not wonder if it will last. You do not fear that it will be taken away. You have been prepared for this. You have been strengthened for this. You have been positioned for this. Every battle you fought, every night you prayed, every moment you refused to give up, all of it has led you to this moment, this revelation, this undeniable truth that lack was never real, that delay was never denial, that everything you have ever needed has always been within you, waiting for you to claim it, waiting for you to step into it, waiting for you to say, it is done. And now you move differently. The weight of the past is no longer on your shoulders. The mindset of struggle is no longer your reality. You do not think like one who is waiting. You think like one who has arrived. You do not speak like one who is uncertain. You speak like one who knows. The words you once spoke in hesitation, you now declare with power. The prayers you once whispered in doubt, you now proclaim with certainty. The life you once dreamed of, you now live with boldness, with confidence, with the full awareness that it was never a matter of if, it was only a matter of when. The doors that once seemed closed now open before you effortlessly. The resources you once longed for now flow to you without resistance. The opportunities that once fell beyond your reach now find you with divine precision. There is no struggle in this season. There is no delay. There is no hesitation. Everything is aligning. Everything is manifesting. Everything is unfolding exactly as it was meant to, and you stand in the center of it. Not as one who is surprised, but as one who always knew. You no longer question whether you are ready, for you have been prepared. You no longer wonder if it is possible, for you see now that it was always destined. You no longer fear that it will be taken away, for you understand that what is given by divine hands is never lost, never diminished, never stolen. It only grows, it only expands, it only increases. And you, the one who once doubted, the one who once struggled, the one who once feared it would never come, now stand in the fullness of all that was promised, all that was prepared, all that has always been yours. You have entered into a new way of being, a new way of thinking, a new way of receiving, no longer bound by the limitations of the past, no longer held back by the beliefs of lack, no longer waiting for permission to step into what has always been your divine right. You walk now with the confidence of one who knows, with the certainty of one who sees, with the faith of one who has already received. And as you move forward, you do so without looking back, without carrying the weight of what was, without allowing the shadows of the past to follow you into this new reality. The struggle is over, the waiting has ended, the time of uncertainty is past. You are in the season of overflow, the season of divine abundance, the season where you no longer hope for blessings, you walk in them. You no longer reach for favor, you embody it. You no longer wonder if your trials had meaning. You know now that they were only the bridge to something greater, something destined, something unstoppable. And so you step forward, not as one who is uncertain, not as one who is hesitant, but as one who is fully awake, fully aware, fully aligned with the truth that you were never meant to struggle, never meant to lack, never meant to wonder if you were worthy. You were always meant for more. You were always meant to rise. You were always meant to receive. And now you do. You no longer carry the weight of waiting, the burden of questioning, the chains of uncertainty. You stand as one who has seen the power of persistence, the fulfillment of divine timing, the manifestation of all that was promised. The moment you stopped asking if it would come, the moment you believed beyond sight, the moment you trusted without conditions, everything shifted. There is no hesitation in your steps, no fear in your heart, no resistance in your spirit. You do not look to the past with sorrow, for you see now that it was all necessary. Every delay, every setback, every moment of silence was never meant to break you. It was meant to build you. The trials were not a punishment, they were preparation. The waiting was not abandonment, it was alignment. And now as you step into the season that was always meant for you, you do so with the wisdom of one who understands. You understand now that blessings are not granted by effort alone, but by awareness. You understand that you never had to beg for what was already yours. You understand that the struggle was never to earn favor, but to realize you already carried it. And now you no longer approach life as one who must fight for abundance, but as one who walks in it naturally. The energy of lack has left you. The mindset of struggle has dissolved. The belief in limitations has disappeared. You have entered a new frequency, a new state of being, a new consciousness where everything flows effortlessly. The doors that once seemed impossible to open now swing wide before you. The wealth that once felt unreachable now follows you. The opportunities that once seemed reserved for others now seek you out. You have become magnetic to everything that aligns with the fullness of your purpose. You no longer chase, you attract. You no longer doubt, you expect. You no longer wait, you receive. The abundance that surrounds you is not temporary. It is not fleeting. It is not something that can be taken away. It is yours because it was always meant for you. It is yours because it was already written. It is yours because you have aligned yourself with the divine truth that you were created for more. There is no need to grasp, no need to hold on in fear, no need to question whether it will last. The source from which it comes is infinite, and you are now connected to that infinite flow. Your trials have only increased your capacity. The challenges have only expanded your understanding. What once felt like struggle was only the stretching of your faith, the strengthening of your spirit, the preparation for a life far greater than you had imagined. And now that you have seen, now that you have experienced, now that you have stepped into the evidence of all that was promised, you can never go back. You can never shrink. You can never doubt again. There is a new way of living, a new way of thinking, a new way of existing that is now yours. The days of questioning are over. The days of striving are over. The days of wondering when your time will come are over. The time is now. The blessings are here. The abundance is flowing. The vision you once carried in your heart is no longer a distant dream. It is you. And as you walk forward, as you move in this new season, as you receive all that was always meant for you, you do so with confidence, with peace, with the absolute knowing that you were never forgotten, never overlooked, never abandoned. You were being prepared. You were being positioned. You were being refined. And now you are ready. Now you receive. Now you step fully into the millionaire blessings, into the divine overflow, into the limitless abundance that has always been your birthright. You do not step into this new reality as a stranger. It feels familiar because it was always yours. It was never outside of you, never distant, never beyond your reach. It was waiting for you to become the person who could hold it, who could carry it, who could live it fully. Every trial shaped you, every delay refined you, every setback taught you. You do not walk as one who stumbled into abundance by chance, but as one who was called, one who was chosen, one who was destined. My name is Irving. Look around you now. What once felt like lack has been replaced with overflow. What once felt like delay has revealed itself as divine timing. What once felt like rejection was protection, guidance, redirection towards something greater than you ever imagined. You no longer mourn what was lost because you understand now it was never meant to stay. The things that left, the doors that closed, the people who walked away were all part of a necessary unfolding. Had they remained, you would not have stepped into the fullness of this blessing. You no longer ask why it took so long. You no longer question why you had to struggle. You see now that nothing was wasted. No tear, no moment of frustration, no silent prayer in the darkness was ever in vain. Every single piece of your journey was building toward this moment. And now you stand in it, not as one who is surprised by the blessing, but as one who always knew it was coming. You never stopped believing, never stopped holding on to the vision, never let go of the promise, and now it is here. You have entered a new reality where effort is replaced with ease, where striving is replaced with flow, where struggle is replaced with grace. You do not have to force what is meant for you. You do not have to beg for what is already yours. You are no longer operating in the energy of lack, no longer thinking small, no longer living as though you are separate from your abundance. The wealth, the opportunities, the favor that now surround you were always meant for you. And now you have become the person who can hold them. There is no hesitation, no fear, no questioning whether you deserve it. You are walking in your inheritance. You are stepping into what was already written, already planned, already aligned in your favor. And as you move forward, you do so with the confidence of one who has already won, one who has already overcome, one who has already stepped into the divine flow of unlimited blessings. You do not shrink in this season. You do not apologize for your blessings. You do not question whether you are worthy. You are here because you endured, because you trusted, because you did not give up when the road was difficult. You are here because you believed, because you held on to faith when everything around you told you to let go. And now you see the evidence of what faith can do, of what patience can birth, of what divine timing can manifest. This is not just for a moment. This is not temporary. This is the life you were always meant to live. The struggles you once faced, the pain you once endured, the moments of uncertainty are no longer your reality. They were simply the bridge that brought you here. And now that bridge is behind you. Now you stand firmly in the promise, fully immersed in the manifestation, completely aligned with the divine abundance that has always belonged to you. Hello, anyone who would like to share this light? Please raise your hand. This is Alistair Curry. You do not return to old ways of thinking. You do not entertain old patterns of doubt. You do not step back into smallness. You have seen too much, experienced too much, grown too much to ever shrink again. You move forward in certainty, knowing that this is only the beginning. The abundance you see now is just a glimpse of what is to come. The favor you experience now is just the start of something even greater. The blessings that are unfolding before you are not just for this moment. They are the foundation of a new way of life. You are not limited by what you see now. You are not confined by what has already been given. There is more. There is always more. You do not place restrictions on a limitless source. You do not allow past experiences to dictate future possibilities. You live in a state of constant expansion, constant growth, constant receiving. You do not chase, you do not strive, you do not force. You simply align, you simply receive. You simply trust that what is meant for you flows to you effortlessly. There is no struggle in this new season. There is no fear, no anxiety, no need to control. You move with the assurance of one who knows the truth, that everything is always working in your favor, that even when you do not see it, even when you do not understand it, even when the path ahead is unclear, you are always being guided, always being positioned, always being prepared for something greater. And now you are walking in the reality of that greater. The blessings that are unfolding in your life are not random. They are not coincidences. They are not accidental. They are the direct result of your faith, your patience, your unwavering belief that something greater was always on the way. And now that it has arrived, you embrace it fully. You do not second guess it. Do not question whether it is real. Do not fear that it will be taken away. It is yours, not because you earned it through struggle, but because you aligned yourself with it. You are no longer bound by old limitations. You are no longer trapped by old fears. You are no longer living in the mindset of scarcity. You have stepped into the fullness of abundance, and there is no going back. You do not hold on to past pain. Do not dwell on past mistakes. Do not allow past disappointments to cloud your vision of the future. You have been made new, transformed, elevated into a new way of being, a new level of receiving, a new dimension of living. You see things differently now. You move differently. You speak differently. You expect differently. You no longer wonder if good things are coming. You know they are. You no longer fear that blessings will be temporary. You understand that they are eternal. You no longer think in terms of lack. You live in the frequency of overflow. The life that once felt impossible, the dreams that once seemed out of reach, the visions that once felt distant are now your reality. You no longer hope for them, no longer wish for them, no longer wait for them. You live in them. You walk in them. You embrace them fully, knowing that they were always meant for you. There is nothing missing, nothing lacking, nothing incomplete. You have stepped into a season of divine wholeness, divine abundance, divine fulfillment. The doors that were once closed are now open. The opportunities that once seemed unattainable are now presenting themselves freely. The life you once only imagined is now unfolding before you. You do not apologize for this season. You do not feel guilty for receiving. You do not shrink to make others comfortable. You walk boldly, confidently, unapologetically in the fullness of what is yours. You are a living example of what faith can do, of what patience can manifest, of what divine alignment can produce. You have not been forgotten. You have not been overlooked. You have not been denied. Everything that is happening now, everything that is unfolding, everything that is flowing into your life is the evidence that you were always chosen, always destined, always called for something greater. And now you are living it. Now you are receiving it. Now you are walking fully in the blessings that were always meant for you. You stand now in the fullness of your destiny, no longer questioning, no longer doubting, but embracing all that was always meant for you. The trials that once seemed unbearable have become the very foundation of your abundance. The struggles that once tested your faith have only strengthened your certainty. Every moment of waiting, every season of hardship, every unanswered question has led you to this place of divine overflow. So walk forward with confidence, knowing that nothing was wasted, that every step was ordered, and that your blessings are not fleeting but eternal. You are no longer striving, you are receiving. No longer hoping, you are knowing. No longer waiting, you are living in the reality of God's promises. The doors are open, the way is clear, and the abundance before you is only the beginning. You have been prepared for this, you have been positioned for this, and now it is time to step fully into the life that was always yours. Receive it with joy, walk in it with gratitude, and know that God's hand is upon you, guiding, blessing, and multiplying all that you touch. This is your time, this is your season, this is the fulfillment of the promise. There is a power working within you, a force unseen but ever present, shaping the very fabric of your reality. You may look around and see obstacles, struggle, and pain, but what if I told you that right now, in this very moment, your story is being rewritten? The hand of God moves beyond human understanding, beyond time, beyond limitation. What you call delay, He calls preparation. What you see as failure, He sees as a necessary chapter in a grander design. You are not forgotten, nor are you forsaken. Though your mind may race with questions, though your heart may be heavy with burdens, rest now. Release the need to understand how or when. Your only task is to trust, to believe, to know with absolute certainty that God is at work in your life. The world may say that change is difficult, that transformation takes effort, but divine power does not operate through struggle. It works through surrender. You do not need to push or force, only to align. Your reality is a reflection of your belief. If you hold on to the story of struggle, you will continue to see it unfold. But the moment you release it, the moment you declare that God is rewriting your destiny, everything begins to shift. Circumstances rearrange, doors open where there were none, and people appear in your life as if drawn by an invisible force. That is the work of God. Silent yet unstoppable, unseen yet undeniable. You are not a victim of fate. You are a vessel through which divine power flows. The old story no longer serves you. It is done. The past is not your prison unless you keep carrying it forward. Let it go now. Breathe, rest, and watch as the impossible bends in your favor. Your only responsibility is to hold the vision of a life redeemed, restored, and overflowing with blessings. There is nothing more to do, nothing more to fight against. Stand still and know that God is working. The pieces of your life are falling into place with precision beyond your comprehension. You do not need to chase, to beg, or to plead. You are already chosen. You are already written into the story of victory. It is already done. Rest now and watch how God moves in your life. God moves in ways beyond human comprehension, beyond the logic of the mind, beyond the limits of what your eyes can see. You may believe your story is set, that your circumstances define you, but in the realm of the divine, nothing is fixed. The moment you let go of resistance, the moment you surrender the struggle and trust, the unseen hand of God begins to weave something new. You are not abandoned, nor are you forgotten. You are not the forlorn abused. You are being shaped, refined, and prepared for something greater than you have imagined. Right now, you may feel surrounded by challenges, but those challenges are not permanent. They are stepping stones. What seems like a dead end is merely a transition into a greater unfolding. The problem is not the situation itself, but the perception of it. You have been conditioned to believe in limitations, to accept lack, to expect struggle. But those are not divine truths. They are illusions created by the world. In the mind of God, your story has already been written in victory. The struggle is only there to awaken you, to teach you to turn inward, to trust in the unseen power that governs all things. Rest now. Cease the endless striving, the anxious wondering, the need to control every detail. The moment you step back, God steps in. The moment you release fear, divine favor rushes in to fill the space. You are not waiting on God. God is waiting on you to align with the truth that everything is already working for your good. The delays, the disappointments, the closed doors, they were never punishments. They were divine redirections, gentle whispers from the universe guiding you towards something better. What you once called rejection was actually protection. What you thought was loss was preparation for increase. The mind cannot grasp the magnitude of God's work because it is conditioned by time, by logic, by past experiences. But God does not operate within those limits. The path may look unclear to you, but to the divine, every detail has already been arranged. Every connection, every opportunity, every breakthrough is already in motion. You do not need to figure out how, you only need to believe. When you believe without resistance, when you trust without questioning, the unseen becomes seen. That which was delayed suddenly appears. That which seemed impossible suddenly materializes. Your faith is the bridge between where you are and where you desire to be. Faith is not hoping, it is knowing. It is standing firm in the unseen, fully convinced that what you seek is already yours. This is not wishful thinking, nor is it blind optimism. It is spiritual law. It is the way the universe was designed to function. What you hold in consciousness must reflect in your world. What you dwell upon with certainty must be drawn into form. Do not allow circumstances to dictate your belief. Do not allow the external world to shake your inner knowing. God is not limited by appearances, and neither are you. The situation you are in now is nothing compared to the power working behind the scenes. Everything you have prayed for, every desire placed in your heart, is already being fulfilled in ways you cannot yet see. The movement of God is often subtle at first, almost imperceptible, like a seed germinating beneath the soil. But in the divine order, nothing is wasted, nothing is stagnant. There is constant movement, constant unfolding, and when the time is right, the results will burst forth into reality in ways that will leave you in awe. Release the timeline. Let go of the need to know when, how, or through whom your blessing will arrive. These are not your concerns. Your only task is to hold the vision, to align your mind with what is already true in the divine realm. See yourself as already blessed. Walk as if the doors are already open. Speak as though your testimony is already written. The moment you assume this posture, reality bends to accommodate it. God is working in your life right now. Even in moments of silence, even when it seems like nothing is changing, there is movement. The foundation is being laid. The pieces are being positioned. You do not need to strive, to force, to make things happen. Your role is to trust, to align, to expect. The mind wants proof before belief, but the Spirit knows that belief is the proof. When you believe, you open the floodgates for divine favor. When you rest in the certainty of God's promises, everything shifts in your favor. You are not bound by what has been. The past has no power unless you give it permission to shape your present. Release the old story. Release the weight of past failures, past disappointments, past wounds. They do not belong in your future. They were part of the journey, but not part of the destination. Every setback was a setup. Every hardship was a lesson. But now it is time to step into the new, to embrace the reality that God has already made a way where there seemed to be none. Your life is not unfolding by accident. Every detail, every event, every person who enters and exits your life is part of a grand design. Nothing is happening to you, it is happening for you. Even in your waiting season, there is purpose. Even in moments of uncertainty, there is divine order. Trust that God is working even when you do not see it, even when you do not understand it. The most powerful transformations happen in the unseen. Seeds grow in darkness before they break through the soil. Miracles manifest in silence before they are announced to the world. There is nothing missing in your life. Everything you need is already within you, waiting for recognition. The shift does not happen outside of you, it happens within. When you recognize yourself as already chosen, already blessed, already in possession of what you seek, the world must conform to that truth. This is the divine law. It does not fail, it does not falter. It is as sure as the rising sun, as certain as the beating of your heart. You were not created to struggle, to beg, to chase after what is already yours. You were created to embody, to receive, to walk in the fullness of divine provision. There is no lack in God, no shortage in the realm of the unseen. The only thing that can block the flow of abundance is doubt, fear, and attachment to the old. But the moment you let go, the moment you decide to rest in trust, the floodgates open. Your story is being rewritten in this very moment. What was meant to harm you is turning for your good. What seemed like a delay is setting you up for acceleration. What felt like a loss is making room for overflow. Do not fear, do not worry, do not try to force what is already yours. Just rest, just trust, just allow the divine to work as it always does, effortlessly, perfectly and in ways beyond what you could ever imagine. Rest in the knowledge that the forces of the divine are already aligning every detail of your life. There is nothing out of order, nothing missing, nothing lost. Even when your eyes see difficulty, even when your heart feels weary, the truth remains unchanged. God is working, and His work is perfect. Every perceived delay is a moment of preparation. Every closed door is leading you to the right one. You are not wandering without direction, nor are you forgotten in the process. You are being positioned for something greater than your mind can yet comprehend. It is easy to believe when the evidence is before you, when the blessings are visible, when the answers come swiftly, but faith does not require sight. Faith is knowing before the manifestation, believing without needing proof, trusting when nothing seems to be happening. It is in these moments of stillness that God is working the most. The foundation is being set beneath the surface, and when the time is right, what has been prepared in the unseen will become undeniable in the seen. You do not need to strive, to force, or to control the process. The greatest breakthroughs come not through struggle, but through surrender. The moment you release the weight of worry, the burden of doubt, the chains of fear, you create space for miracles. The divine does not work through tension, it flows through peace. When you rest in trust, you align yourself with the limitless abundance that was always meant for you. The mind seeks solutions, timelines, explanations. It asks when, how, through whom. But the divine operates beyond such limitations. The moment you let go of the need to figure it out, you step into the flow of divine ease. Everything begins to unfold in perfect harmony, not by your effort, but by the unseen hand guiding all things. There is no need to chase what is already destined for you. There is no need to force open doors that are being prepared to swing wide on their own. Your only role is to remain steadfast in your knowing, unwavering in your trust, unshaken by temporary circumstances. Everything you desire already exists in the realm of the unseen. The love, the opportunities, the breakthroughs, the healing is not being created, it is being revealed. It is not being withheld, it is waiting for you to align with it. The moment you declare that, it is already done. The moment you stand in the certainty that God has already made the way, the physical world must conform. This is the nature of divine law. It is not wishful thinking, it is spiritual truth. The world may tell you to work harder, to struggle more, to do more. But the divine whispers something different. It says rest. It says trust. It says let go. The greatest miracles happen in stillness. The greatest transformations occur when you allow rather than resist. Every desire placed in your heart was placed there for a reason. Every vision you carry is a glimpse of what is already yours. Your job is not to question, not to fear, not to shrink back in doubt, but to rise in faith, to walk as if it is already done, to speak as though it has already come to pass. When you embody the energy of already having, the world responds accordingly. The unseen begins to move, the path begins to clear, the answers begin to appear. This is not coincidence. This is divine alignment. Everything you need is already being arranged. The right people, the right opportunities, the right circumstances are all coming together in perfect timing. There is no need to rush. There is no need to fear. The divine never moves too soon, nor does it move too late. It moves precisely, perfectly, and always in your favor. The struggles of the past do not define the future. What has been does not dictate what will be. The moment you shift your focus from what was to what is possible, you unlock a new reality. The past has served its purpose. It has prepared you, strengthened you, shaped you, but it is not your identity. You are not bound to old patterns, old failures, old disappointments. You are being made new in this very moment. Every old chain is breaking. Every past limitation is dissolving. You are stepping into a new version of yourself, one that no longer clings to fear, but stands firm in faith. Every challenge you have faced was not to break you, but to build you. Every difficulty was not to defeat you, but to elevate you. You have been refined through the process, and now you are ready to receive the blessings that have always been meant for you. No effort has been wasted. No tear has gone unnoticed. Everything has been accounted for, and everything is turning in your favor. What was once a test will soon be your testimony. What once felt like struggle will soon be a story of victory. There is nothing too great for God. No situation is beyond His power. No obstacle is beyond His ability to remove. What seems impossible in human eyes is effortless in divine hands. The very thing that has seemed out of reach is already being placed in your path. The very answer you have been seeking is already on its way. There is no need to fight for what has already been written as yours. Simply align. Simply believe. Simply stand in the unwavering knowing that it is already done. You have spent enough time doubting. You have spent enough time questioning. Now is the time to step fully into faith. Now is the time to embrace the truth that God is working, that your story is shifting, that what you seek is seeking you. There is no separation between you and the life you desire. The only separation exists in belief. The moment you decide that it is already yours, the world must rearrange to reflect that truth. The moment you accept that divine favor is already upon you, the blessings must manifest in form. Rest now. Release the need to know every step. Release the need to see immediate proof. The proof is in the unseen, and soon it will be undeniable in the seen. The work has already been completed in the spiritual realm. The manifestation is simply a matter of alignment. Walk as though you have already received. Speak as though the prayer has already been answered. Move through life as though every door is already open. This is the posture of faith. This is the energy that accelerates miracles. God is not distant. He is not waiting for you to earn His favor, for you have already been chosen. You have already been marked for blessings beyond measure. The divine does not withhold, it only awaits your recognition. The moment you recognize yourself as already worthy, already abundant, already victorious, the world must comply. Nothing outside of you has power over your destiny. No circumstance, no past mistake, no external condition can alter what God has ordained. You are already positioned for greatness. You are already walking in divine favor. Allow the old to fall away. Allow the new to emerge. Let go of fear, of hesitation, of the need for control. Surrender fully to the knowing that your story is being rewritten. The chapter of struggle is closing. The chapter of abundance is beginning. There is nothing more for you to do, nothing more for you to force. Just rest, just trust, just allow. God is working in your life, and what is coming will exceed every expectation, every prayer, and every dream you have ever carried. It is already done. Every moment you rest in faith, you allow the divine to unfold miracles in ways beyond your understanding. There is no force greater than trust, no energy more powerful than unwavering belief. The mind may try to reason, to calculate, to analyze, but the ways of God are not bound by logic. They operate in the unseen, moving pieces into place in perfect harmony. What seems delayed is already in motion. What feels distant is already reaching for you. Your only task is to remain still in your knowing, for everything is happening exactly as it should. You have already been set apart for something greater than your current reality. The struggles you have faced were never meant to define you, but to prepare you. The pain you have endured was never meant to break you, but to refine you. Every challenge was a necessary piece of the story, leading you to this moment, this realization, this truth. You were never abandoned. You were never forsaken. The hand of God has been upon you all along, guiding, shaping. Even in the darkest nights, the divine light never left you. Even in the moments of deep uncertainty, heaven was orchestrating your breakthrough. What appears as silence is not absence. What seems like stillness is not inactivity. The unseen is more real than what the eyes can perceive. Every prayer has been heard. Every tear has been collected. Every longing of your heart has been acknowledged. And now the shift is taking place. Not because you fought for it, not because you forced it, but because you finally surrendered. The moment you release control is the moment divine power takes over. The moment you step out of the way is the moment the path clears. You do not need to push against the current, you need only to flow with the tide of destiny. There is no mistake in your journey, no experience has been wasted. Every detour, every delay, every disappointment was divinely permitted to bring you to something higher, something greater, something you could not have imagined for yourself. What you thought was rejection was redirection. What you saw as failure was preparation. You have not lost anything that was truly meant for you. What is yours cannot be taken, cannot be destroyed, cannot be blocked. It is sealed by divine decree, and no earthly force can undo what has already been set in motion. The doors that once seemed shut will open effortlessly. The opportunities that once felt out of reach will present themselves without struggle. The love, the abundance, the peace that once felt unattainable will flood into your life with ease. Not because you begged, not because you chased, but because you believed. The power of faith is the key that unlocks every divine blessing. The moment you trust in the unseen, you align with a force that is beyond human limitation. You step into the flow of miracles, where things unfold with divine ease, where battles are won without lifting a hand, where blessings chase you down instead of you chasing after them. This is the moment where you shift from waiting to receiving. You are not in a season of lack, but in a season of transformation. You are not being overlooked, but being prepared. Every time you rest in the knowing that God is working, you accelerate the process. Every time you release the need to figure it out, you make space for the divine to work in ways beyond your imagination. There is no need to strive. There is no need to worry. The outcome has already been determined, and it is good. What if you stopped doubting? What if you stopped looking for signs and simply decided that it is already done? What if you woke up each day with the certainty that what you seek is seeking you, that what you desire is already unfolding? What if you spoke as if it had already happened, acted as if you were already living in the reality you long for? The world would shift, the circumstances would realign, the evidence would appear, not because the external changed first, but because your inner state became the magnet for the life that was always yours. Everything is a reflection of what you hold within. If you carry fear, you see obstacles. If you carry doubt, you see delays. But if you carry faith, you see movement. If you carry trust, you see doors opening. The choice is yours in every moment. Will you align with the fear of lack, or will you align with the certainty of divine provision? Will you dwell in the past, or will you step fully into the power of the present moment, where all things are possible? Your story is shifting in this very moment. Even if your eyes cannot yet see it, even if your hands cannot yet touch it, the transformation is happening beneath the surface. The divine blueprint of your life is unfolding exactly as it should. No mistake has been made, no effort has been in vain. You are exactly where you are meant to be, and everything is unfolding for your highest good. There is nothing more to do but trust, nothing more to force but to allow. The moment you let go of the struggle, you step into divine ease. The moment you stop resisting, the blessings flow. The moment you believe without condition, the manifestation begins. Rest now. The battle is no longer yours. The work is already being done. The victory is already won. God is moving, and your story is changing in ways you never imagined. There is no force in the universe greater than the divine will working on your behalf. Even when you cannot see it, even when it feels as if nothing is changing, the unseen hand of God is moving. There is no moment of your life that is outside of divine awareness. Every thought, every prayer, every unspoken desire of your heart is known, and when the time is right, what has been prepared for you will appear. Not by force, not by struggle, but by the effortless unfolding of divine timing. You do not need to strive for what is already yours. You do not need to chase what has been assigned to you. Everything is already set in motion. The answers, the breakthroughs, the divine opportunities, they are not distant, they are not far away. They are simply waiting for the moment when your heart is fully open to receive. And that moment comes not through worry, not through doubt, but through deep, unshakable trust. The more you release, the more you receive. The more you surrender, the more doors open. The human mind seeks control, seeks logic, seeks to understand, but the ways of God are beyond human comprehension. What may seem like delay is divine preparation. What may seem like silence is the setting of the stage. What may feel like unanswered prayers is the unfolding of something far greater than you imagined. If only you could see the grand design being woven on your behalf, you would rest in absolute peace. You would not question, you would not fear, you would not wonder if it is coming. You would simply know that it is already done. Every great story has moments of tension, moments where it seems like nothing is happening, moments where everything appears to be working against the main character. But those moments are never the end. They are simply the space before the breakthrough, the stillness before the transformation, the preparation before the victory. And so it is with your life. What you perceive as obstacles are merely stepping stones. What you see as setbacks are simply reroutes leading you to something better. The plan for your life is perfect, unshakable, unbreakable. No force on earth, no mistake, no misstep can undo what has been divinely ordained for you. The more you trust, the faster things move. The more you let go of the need to figure it all out, the more space you create for the divine to work in miraculous ways. There is nothing missing in your life. There is nothing you lack. Everything you need has already been provided for. The resources, the connections, the solutions, the opportunities, they are all being aligned right now. The only thing standing between you and their arrival is your willingness to believe without condition. What if you stopped doubting? What if you stopped looking at circumstances and simply decided that it is already done? What if you refused to entertain thoughts of lack, thoughts of fear, thoughts of limitation? What if instead you held a deep and unwavering knowing that all things are working for your good? The moment you shift your belief, the moment you decide that what you seek is already yours, reality bends to match your inner conviction. The world is not happening to you, it is responding to you. The divine mirrors back to you whatever you hold within. Hold worry, and you see reasons to worry. Hold faith, and you see reasons to believe. Hold gratitude, and you receive even more to be grateful for. There is nothing left for you to do but trust. You have done enough. You have asked, you have prayed, you have sought guidance. Now it is time to rest in the knowing that the answer is already on its way. The moment you release, the moment you stop grasping, everything begins to move in your favor. You do not need to struggle. You do not need to figure it out. The divine has already gone before you, preparing the way, aligning the details, setting the stage for the perfect unfolding. It may not come in the way you expected. It may not appear in the way you planned. But when it arrives, you will know that it was divinely orchestrated. Every detail will be perfect. Every moment will be aligned. And you will look back and understand why things had to unfold exactly as they did. You will see that nothing was lost, nothing was wasted. Every moment of waiting, every moment of uncertainty, every challenge was leading you to this, to something beyond what you could have imagined. If you could see the way God sees, you would not fear, you would not worry, you would not question, you would rest in perfect peace, knowing that all things are unfolding for your highest good. You would wake each day with confidence, knowing that what is meant for you can never be taken from you. You would walk with certainty, knowing that even when things seem still, heaven is moving on your behalf. The moment you step into this trust, the moment you let go of the need to control, the moment you stop doubting, everything shifts. Doors open effortlessly. Answers appear, miracles unfold, not because you forced them, but because you aligned with them. Not because you struggled for them, but because you finally allowed them. The greatest breakthroughs come when you stop fighting and start trusting. The greatest blessings come when you stop chasing and start receiving. Rest now. Let go of the worry, the stress, the need to figure it out. It is already being taken care of. The divine is already at work. The story is already written. The victory is already won. What is meant for you is making its way to you in perfect timing, in perfect order, in perfect alignment. God is working, and nothing can stop what has already been set in motion. You do not need to chase what is already moving toward you. Every moment of your life has been accounted for. Every step, every breath, every pause. It is all unfolding exactly as it should. Even in the moments when you feel lost, when you wonder if your prayers have gone unheard, when it seems like nothing is changing, know this: God is working. The invisible forces of creation are aligning circumstances, people, and opportunities in ways you cannot yet see. There is no wasted time, no missed chances, no wrong turns in the divine plan. What is yours, and nothing can take it away. The mind seeks reassurance. It looks for signs, for proof, for evidence that things are moving in the right direction. But faith does not require proof. Faith is knowing before seeing, believing before receiving, trusting before understanding. It is the unwavering confidence that, even in the silence, God is speaking. Even in the stillness, God is moving. Even in the waiting, God is preparing something far greater than you can imagine. What looks like delay is not delay. It is divine timing in motion. You were never meant to carry the weight of your future on your own. You were never meant to figure it all out by yourself. The burden of uncertainty, of trying to control the outcome, of worrying about the how and when, release it. It is not yours to carry. The moment you let go, the moment you surrender fully, is the moment things begin to shift. Miracles happen when you stop trying to force them. Breakthroughs come when you step out of the way and allow them. The path is already clear. It is only your doubt that clouds your vision. The moment you trust, the moment you rest, the moment you step into absolute faith, everything changes. There is no such thing as an impossible situation. There is no such thing as being too far gone, too late, too broken, too lost. Every circumstance, no matter how impossible it seems, is subject to divine transformation. The sickness that seems incurable, the financial struggle that feels overwhelming, the relationship that appears beyond repair, none of it is beyond God's reach. What seems unchangeable can change in an instant. What seems blocked can open in the blink of an eye. What seems broken can be made whole in ways you never imagined. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are not alone. Even in your darkest moments, when you feel abandoned, when you feel like nothing is working in your favor, God is nearer than ever. He is whispering to your heart, guiding your steps, setting things in place for your highest good. The challenges you face are not signs of punishment. They are not evidence that you have been forsaken. They are the refining fire, the necessary preparation, the process that leads to transformation. Every story of greatness, every testimony of victory, every miracle that has ever unfolded began in a place of uncertainty. It began in the waiting, in the questioning, in the moments when nothing made sense. The difference between those who see the fulfillment of their prayers and those who do not is simple. Those who trust without wavering, those who believe even when there is no evidence, those who hold on to faith even in the face of impossibility, these are the ones who see mountains move. These are the ones who experience the supernatural. God is rewriting your story. What was meant for harm will turn for good. What was stolen will be restored. What was lost will be returned in greater measure. The pain, the struggles, the tears, they were never in vain. They were never without purpose. Every trial was shaping you, preparing you, strengthening you for what is to come. If you could see what is ahead, if you could glimpse the blessings that are waiting for you, you would not fear. You would not doubt. You would rest in perfect peace, knowing that everything is aligning in your favor. Nothing is too big for God. Nothing is beyond His power. He does not need time. He does not need logical solutions. He does not work according to human limitations. In an instant, He can open doors you never knew existed. In a moment, He can change everything. But He is waiting on you to trust, to let go, to believe fully, without hesitation. You have prayed, you have hoped, now release it. Rest. Let go of the need to constantly question, to constantly seek reassurance, to constantly wonder if it will happen. It is already done. The moment you asked, the answer was set into motion. The moment you believed, the manifestation began. The only thing that remains is for you to receive. And receiving requires rest. Receiving requires surrender. Receiving requires stepping into the absolute knowing that what you seek is already yours. This is not about waiting. This is about trusting. This is about stepping into the reality where you know, beyond any doubt, that God has already worked it out. The more you rest in this truth, the faster things unfold. The more you align your heart with divine assurance, the more effortlessly things fall into place. This is the way of miracles. This is the way of divine manifestation. Your story is not over. Your journey is not finished. The best chapters are still being written. The most beautiful moments are still ahead. The breakthrough you seek, the answer you long for, the change you have been praying for, it is closer than you think. Trust, rest, and know that God is working in your life in ways beyond what you can see or imagine. So now, release the worry, the fear, and the need to understand every step. Let go of the resistance, the doubt, and the constant questioning. God has already set everything in motion. Your only task is to trust, to rest, and to receive. What is meant for you is already yours. The transformation, the breakthrough, the answered prayer, it is unfolding even now. Do not let your mind convince you otherwise. Walk in faith, speak in faith, think in faith. The same God who has brought you this far will not fail you now. Stand firm, believe, and watch as your story is rewritten in ways far greater than you ever imagined.